Hey everybody, HMV here. Playing more Kerbal Space Program. It's been a while, sorry about that. It's been a long weekend for me, a long week. But let's go ahead and launch. And the name of the ship is To the Moon, and it's going to be doing a lot of things. First of all, it's going to test the twin-bore liquid fuel engine landed at Kerbin. Successful, 65 grand, more than doubly paid for the mission. The mission is now officially paid for. This was a $39,000 ship, and we made 65 just for testing one of the parts. Is that overpowered? I don't care. I don't really care how much money things cost. Our last two officially hired Kerbonauts here, Zoe and Miguel, are flying up to the Kerbo National Space Station, which we put up from another contract, to refuel their ship and then send it off on the moon. The Rendezvous is going to complete another contract, which is somewhere around here. Rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit of Kerbin. Once we get within visual range of the space station, we should have this contract. Then we're also sending these two guys up to the moon to meet up with Pohan to complete these 3 contracts. I was wrong at the end of the last episode. I thought there was only 2 contracts on the moon. There are 3, and I believe these are the last 3 contracts to ever go up to moon. And then we're also going to get science data from around moon, from the surface of moon, and we're going to plant a flag on moon. So this is going to be a very profitable trio of missions, and this is probably going to be the name of this mission, is the Mooner Trio. So, boring until the fairings go, so I will see you back then. And there we go. There's the ship. Oops, and I screwed up. Actually, I don't think I screwed up. I think the game screwed up. Or not the game. The gravity turn mod screwed up by activating this engine, figuring, hey, there's nothing blocking the engine. I'll turn it on. Not a big deal. We have plenty of fuel in this ship. Let's go ahead and actually transfer this fuel forward before I forget. So he's full. And one other thing, we need to put a satellite in orbit around Kerbin. At the end of last episode, I poo-pooed the idea of sending this satellite up here, and I have since decided, yeah, you know what, that's a good idea. And this satellite is a one and done because his orbit is not stable. He's in the same orbit, or a similar orbit to Moon, so eventually Moon's going to throw him out of the system. Pretty simple ship. Zoe's in one of these capsules. Miguel's in the other one. The idea of this ship, notice there are no parachutes or anything on it. The idea of this ship is to, also there's nothing making solar power right now. Well, there's these panels, but we might as well bring out the good panels. The idea of this ship is to go and take Zoe and Miguel up to Moon, dock with the space station around Moon, and then the 3 of them, Pohan and these 2, are going to go down, land at each one of their monoliths, and then come back up and get in this guy. And when this guy is completely full of those 3 Kerbonauts who have successfully done their missions, it's going to just turn around and come back, dock with the Kerbo National Space Station, which has 4 things that can return to Kerbin from it, and then it's going to then have completed its mission, and they're going to come home from there. And this is going to stay up in orbit in order to go somewhere else. I don't know what else it can do. I don't have any immediate plans for it. But if we can, say, get it to Duna with 1 or 2 people in it, we might do that just to save having to build a ship and launch it from Kerbin. Trying to reuse things as we need them. Not a huge deal, but it's a thought. And we're slowing down, coming up on the station here. Figured I would keep you here for the docking because, unlike all other dockings I've ever done in this game, this one has RCS. So hey, okay, we're gonna drop the satellite now that we're nearby, and he's gonna do his own thing once we get the important ship up and running here. So let's go ahead and aim ourselves at the Kerbin Station 1. I called it the Kerbo National Space Station more out of whimsy than anything else. This guy has RCS jets in every direction, so we don't have to use the main engines anymore, which I personally think is nice. And I don't think there's a probe core on this ship. Yeah, there's no probe core on this ship, so we can't actually move it to dock with the other ship. So we'll just have to come in with the other ship then. And he could almost make it to Moon. He could actually probably make it to Moon on his own, but with only $1,000 in the tank, I figure why push the margins when we don't really have to? Actually, with a Grand, he might not even make it to the moon. He'd make it there, but I don't think he'd get into orbit. And with all the GUI elements on the screen, it's hard to see where I'm clicking. So I'm going to click on this guy, and then we're going to go back to here, and then we can set that as a target. I do like that option. Then we need to be aimed this way. Also, our light is fading quickly. I think we can do this in the dark, even with the solar power problem. I would prefer to not have to. Nice and easy, using the nav HUD mod to see everything that's important right on the screen, so I don't have to open up a window or anything. Bringing my prograde marker towards the alignment marker. As soon as those actually get aligned, bringing it in. Bringing my prograde marker back. Let's turn fine control on. Oh, and doesn't even need it. Didn't need fine control because we just got docked. Okay, let's fill up our tanks now. There's so much fuel in this station. Oh, did we get the contract? We got a world for, oh, geez. No, out. And out into the ship. Rendezvous maneuver, we have started constructing the first space station. Hey. And then rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit of Kerbin. Yes, we got that, which is awesome. And I transferred the fuel wrong because I got confused with all the contracts, but hey, what are you going to do? And they are ready to plan their ejection to moon. Yeah, see, the satellite needs to be a little bit higher than moon. So we could have brought the satellite with us, except for we had to undock in order to do that. And the satellite has enough fuel to do its thing anyway, and it's a one and done, as I said. So let's see. And we should probably, you know what we should do? We should do the same thing with the satellite we're doing with this, although the satellite, I think, is going to have a problem with amount of fuel spent. Or, I'm sorry, amount of solar power it's going to have. Looks like we're not going to get a good prediction, which is always annoying. I think, did somebody say you could drop a maneuver node on your predicted orbit? No, but see, that's the next orbit. But if we go to this maneuver node and say go back in orbit, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Is this going to tell us anything? No. And this is actually probably pretty good. That's at least a pretty good first approximation. Once we get this burn done, hopefully the orbits will sort themselves out and figure out what they're doing. Okay, let's go to our satellite and see what kind of power problems he's going to come into. Yeah, see, he only has 10 power total. But he's good enough to get to here. So let's go ahead and plan his moon ejection as well and see if we can get him up to moon. Because we want to get him up to moon so he can get the, like a, what do we call it, a gravity assist from moon to get into the right orbit. So I think this is fine, and then we'll do this, add a maneuver out here. Let's set moon as our target. Oh, moon is our target, okay. Yes, if we do something like this, that will get our alignment right. And then prograde and retrograde, or radial. I mean, I don't even know if it's worth it. But I mean, if we get roughly the same, the correct, at least the alignment's worth it. And if we get roughly the right energy, then hopefully, now radial here will still be kind of expensive. We've got 2,000 in the tank, and this is, yeah, we'll do these 2 burns with this guy. So the probe, though, is the first one to be done, and we should rename this guy. Accept. So he's got a maneuver in 31 minutes. Let's go ahead and do it. And then the to the moon thing, oh, that's going to be kind of harsh. But we can basically just get this guy's burn done. We need to enable his engine again. There we go. 41-second burn. This is probably a longer burn than the other one. That kind of sucks. But there's nothing we can do about it except do the burn earlier because it doesn't matter as much with him. So we'll wait until we're at about a minute, and then we're going to do this burn, even though it's not the right time. Or 38 seconds, whatever. And we'll just burn up until we get to our apoapsis up to the moon. This is almost the exact technical definition of a flyby by the seat of your pants. There we go. We'll just give it a little bit now until we get roughly the right amount of energy. Which is about there. That's fine. And then out here, we will plan a little burn just to get it the right that. And then at moon, right at periapsis of moon, we're going to burn to fix the radial, which I don't think is the right time to do that now that I'm thinking about it. So maybe we'll do it somewhere else. But I don't know. Don't know, don't care. We're switching to the other ship. Because he has a maneuver node that is 41 seconds overdue, which we kind of expected, but it kind of sucks that we've got to do that. And it's actually a longer burn than the other ship. And our computer's off, and we just flew past the space station, which was disturbingly close to our path. Considering the satellite was of lesser importance, we probably should have put it off in orbit, but I don't care. Let's get it nice and close to there. Set him as our target. And now at our midpoint, we can kind of fix our inclination here. And I love that the game actually shows you your inclination on the next orbit. But we can still just eyeball it. There we go. Looking pretty good. Another nighttime encounter. See, but I can do this and then just fiddle with my normal here. Probably by the 0.1s. 0.3, 0.2, and then this will also get it right there, which is nice. I think that's the best we can do from out here. Let's go ahead and take care of his orbital correction burn, which I'm doing a little early, but out here time doesn't matter that much. Just want to make sure it's nice and equatorial. Then we actually have to focus back on Kerbin to do this, which kind of sucks. And like I said, I don't know if periapsis at moon is the right time to do this, but let's try it and see what happens here. So this maneuver node, if we were to radial by 10s and prograde, yeah, see, prograde and retrograde is the right way to go. So let's do some prograde to get this right, and then let's do radials to bring it back down. Then another negative prograde. Another couple radials. See, and then there, that's basically all we need. That's pretty cheap, actually. And then we can actually align the orbit once we're out there. So that's pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to the moon ship. Get it? It's a pun. To the moon, even though it's a 3-man ship, but there's only 2 people in it. So, and I'll rename it if we ever use it again. But it's once we bring the 3 people back for the moon, it's a very likely chance that it's going to sit up at the space station for the rest of its days. Okay, we're a little bit late on this one, but just like the other ship, doesn't matter that much. As long as we actually get the alignment right. Which that basically does. Okay, now here, we're going to get ourselves into orbit. You can do something like that. I think that's very, very doable there. And the contractor's the next thing to do, so let's go ahead and... actually, yeah, let's... oh, geez. We've got 2 things going in the sphere of influence. Such a pain. But I still don't trust the sphere of influence changes. So I'm gonna get him to the moon. Then we're going to jump back to the moon ship. Going to get him in the sphere of influence of the moon. Then we're going to jump back to the contractor and do that. This here is the KSP equivalent of small ball in baseball. You know, doesn't matter what kind of superstar things you do in Kerbal Space Program. If you don't take care of the little details every single mission, you're going to lose. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking care of the little details. And I cut a lot of these out a lot of times, but I'm not feeling like it this time. Okay, gas has been hit. We are Doing our best to keep it right on target. And that's what we wanted. Okay, here's the orbit I want to reach. And here's the orbit I am. So when we're down here, give or take, we've got the alignment. We just need to slow down a bit. And radial a bit. A teeny bit. That should nail that orbit. So we'll worry about that later. Let's jump to the moon ship. Turn the ambient light up a little bit so you can see it. It wasn't a big deal with the probe because it was just doing a simple little maneuver, but this ship is the important one. And that's why I went way over my time. But we're a couple orbits ahead of time anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. Let's get it down to close. And then kill this and actually do the rest of this by eye. Holding down control and tapping shift to move our encounter marker right to there. 2.6 kilometers, 2.0 kilometers, that's perfectly fine. Then we're going to warp to here where we're still in the sun. And you've seen this many times, so I'm not going to make you watch it. I will see you as we are approaching the Muno National Space Station. The increasingly poorly named space stations in a moment. Okay, we just came up, sidled up next to this guy, and we are on the verge of docking. This guy does not have the same benefit that the station around Kerbin had in that it's under 100 kilometer orbit. Therefore, it's going to be a little squirrely here. But as we have found, the amount of time you spend nearby an object directly affects how hard it is to get your dock on. And did we seriously just bump onto this thing and we've proven that it's broken? Is that a thing that happened? Yep, we bumped into the space station and didn't dock. I'll be back. Still just bumping up against it. Okay, let's try another docking port. Cannot tell you how annoying this is. I am actually physically incapable of telling you how annoying this is. Okay, I'm going to end the episode here because I don't want to play the game anymore. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I definitely enjoyed playing it. I'm HMV, and I will, as always, talk to you later.